adventure?
Doing really good. I'm, doing promo for this album, and I'm finishing up other albums, and it's just a lot going on, man.
Yeah,
Pretty cool.
that's pretty amazing because you're about to take the great adventure on the road. I think you started in Nashville in a few weeks, right?
Yeah, yeah. So I'm getting ready for that. I'm also doing my keyboard parts on the new Flying Colors album.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to get everything done before this pretty involved tour starts. So you know what I mean. I'm trying to tie all the loose ends up, get the Jesus Christ, the Exorcist musical out to the label, and just all kinds of things that I'm getting done, and it's going great. Actually, I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah. So you, it seems to me as if you just released Similitude of a Dream, but that was actually what 18 months ago or so.
Yeah, it was. I think it was November of 2017.
Right.
I think.
Right. So
then we toured. We started touring around I think February of 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So over a year.
And the Great Adventure is really a continuation of Similitude of a Dream.
Well, it is sort of a different view of Similitude of a Dream, shall we say. It's now it's the journey of the abandoned son that was left behind when the guy on the first record has his vision and leaves. He tries to get his wife to go with him, but she won't. And so he feels so compelled that he goes on the journey on his own. And as I was in the actual book, the Pilgrim's Progress book, the second half, there's a book two, which tells the wife's story, which is pretty interesting. And she has a change of heart and follows after her husband. But that didn't really work lyrically because it just didn't work for us to sing from a woman's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had the revelation of like, what about singing from the perspective of like the eldest son who's really angry to be left in the city of destruction? That was lyrically that was a key that unlocked things for me.
Right. So Neal, if you could talk a little bit about the writing process for the album, because this is your third album with the band.
Yeah.
In terms of the lyrical content, how did that come about? You talked a little bit already about how it differs, but how did you start writing that, and then how did you share that with the band?
Well, lyrically, I had a couple pieces early on in you know what? It must have been 2016 that it came out, right? And then we toured in 2017, and then 2018, Mike was busy with Sons of Apollo. That's when we made the record. Okay, yeah. So it came out in 2016. So it's been like 2 years.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. I was just trying to get the timing in my mind here. So it would have been back in the winter of 2017 that I started to have some ideas for this. I had the idea that became Vanity Fair, and then I wrote some other pieces that didn't get used. But I didn't. It's like the way it seems to work is everybody in the band seems to get like a piece or pieces of the puzzle, and it's hard to figure out sometimes what the big picture is supposed to look like when you're in it and you're creating it. So I had little pieces of it, but and then there were some other ideas that the other guys had, and we kicked them around in August of 2017, and then we got together in is that right? I can't get the timing right.
That's probably about right, I would imagine.
Yeah, and then we got together in January of 2018 to make the record. And then we wrote all this stuff. We wrote a lot of stuff in the room all together. And there were some pieces that Bill had. There were some themes that Eric and some riffs that Randy had, and some stuff that I had. And Mike's kind of like the cleaner. He's the guy who listens to everything and picks up the best stuff, and very often has a great overview sense of how it all should fit together.
Okay.
So that's kind of how we work. We just really get together in the room and start listening to ideas. Maybe that it's good to have a starting place.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we'll start off with something that someone's written, and then we just go from there. And it's a crazy adventure, man.
So musically, the players, Bill, Mike, Eric, Randy can bring in bits and pieces of music, but lyrically, is that foundation done before you get in the studio, or is it done in the studio?
Some of it, most of the lyrics come later.
Okay.
Like we'll have a lot of times in my progressive rock writing, it's like that. I'll have one lyrical idea like "Welcome to the World."
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the world. Da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll know you want to start the chorus with and end it with "Welcome to the world," but you don't know everything that's going to go in between. And so a lot of times, it's like this puzzle. You've got the corners, but then you've got to fill in the whole thing. And a lot of times I do that later.
So things like the overture, the first overture, which is pretty involved, and then overture 2, are things which you maybe come up with later after you have the roots of the song, the roots of the album.
Yeah, that's right. We did that. There was some minor sort of overture things that we started with too. But as we went, then once we decided all the themes that we were going to use, then you have to figure out how to fit them all in. And one of the challenges with this one was there were quite a few really good slow themes, and we couldn't fit them all in the overture. It was just kind of too much.
Okay.
For example, Eric's theme, which is it's the quiet guitar solo after "Welcome to the World."
Mm-hmm.
It's a really lovely theme, and it didn't make it into the overture. And there are several others like that too, but that's okay. You don't have to get everything in the overture, It's not like a rule.
But Neal, it sounds as if there are a number of great pieces, musical pieces, or maybe music and lyrics, which are left off.
There are, there are 3 or even 4 versions of this album.
Wow. That's amazing.
January.
Uh-huh.
The 2.5-hour version that I demoed. I didn't even realize it was getting that long. I was just kind of going for it and putting everything in that I was hearing and thinking of. So yeah, we got together last August. I gotta get the dates right. Last August to do the final slicing and dicing and figuring out the transitions. That's the version that you have now. We had to take this 2.5-hour version and cut it down under 2 hours, and I'm really pleased with it. We all lost something we loved.
Right.
We all had to give. There's riffs that we lost. There's jam sections. There's whole songs, whole entire songs that I just loved. And the guys were like, "Neal, I think this will be better without that part, without that whole song." And I'm like, "Well, okay, I can see it. All right." We all did it, So that's some of the music of collaboration.
Yeah. The thing about my feelings about your music, and I'm not a long-term fan. I'm kind of a new fan, but your music, in my mind, is a lot like a rabbit hole, because you discover one album, and then you go on to a next album, but you have to have the next album after that, and you're so prolific in terms of your writing and your performing. And then I think you were saying you were finishing this in August. I kept thinking that was around the time you were doing the live performances of the Jesus Christ the Exorcist as well.
It was, yeah. That was the real real challenge. In July, I think we talked, and we had a conference call with the band, and I was like, guys, really, this should come out like in January, and we should debut it on Cruise to the Edge.
Right.
But then it's like, well, that means we need to deliver it to Rich to start mixing like in September. And here we are in July. And I was like, is it possible? And we had to start the whole rehearsals for the Jesus musical in September. So I mean, I really had to get all my stuff done in August before that. And the final writing didn't get done until like August 10th.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I had like really 2 weeks to do all my stuff. Of course, I didn't get done, and then I wound up, and then because I had this whole vacation book, I had like a 2 week vacation booked with my wife in the second half of September.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I was still doing stuff in October and sending it to Rich and replaying things, re-singing things, and sending it. That's the thing that is cool about file sharing. Is even at the last minute, you can send a new track. Like, I kept walking by. I had this whistle,
Mm-hmm.
and I for some reason it was left out. It must have been God. It was like for some reason left out. Every time I walked by the microwave in the studio, I would see this whistle, and something in me was like, "There's a place on this album for the whistle." I just felt it in my gut, like, where should the whistle go? So as I was listening down to the album and getting the mixes and stuff, then I would listen to The Great Adventure one time. I'm like, that's it. That's the spot. So I just ran into the vocal booth, blew the whistle, sent it to Rich, and flew it in. That was like the day before it was being mastered.
Mm-hmm. One thing you mentioned, which I thought was unique, is that you have a studio in Nashville, and you recorded the album in Nashville, right?
Right.
So, did you record you have a drum room also in Nashville?
Yeah. And it has a permanent Mike Portnoy kit in it.
It must be big.
I got tired of paying the cartage.
Right.
Yeah, and it's all mic'd up, and so it's a nice, it's a blessing. I've got a Hammond and a Leslie all mic'd up and ready, and I've got a couple amp rooms, and it's pretty functional. It's not world class or anything, but it's functional, and of course everybody does their own. Bill and Randy and Eric do their overdubs at their studio.
Sure. Mm-hmm. But the basic tracks are done.
We really do the writing and the drums here, and then I do all my stuff here.
So, rehearsal basically is done in the studio. Then they fly in the basic tracks that they've done and the overdubs.
Yeah, we leave with finished drums and full arrangement with scratch tracks.
Mm-hmm.
So we know what the music's supposed to be. It's sometimes it's really rough, but sometimes it's pretty much there. And then we go and we hone it and do all our stuff at our places.
So the information I received said it took about 18 months or so to finish the album. Is that about right?
Yeah, it was a long one. It was a long one. It was the first time that I ever came away from the final sessions working on any record with Mike, and that's a lot of records.
Wow.
And it's the first time I ever went, it's not quite there.
Oh, wow.
I think we need to get back together and work on it again.
So, Neal, what was missing?
I don't know. I just felt like it wasn't what it was supposed to be. It was really good, of course. It's all the single disc version that we did in January was the same, a lot of the same stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I just didn't think it really, went where it needed to go. And the more I prayed about it, thought about it, I felt like it needed to be a follow-up to Similitude. That's what it wanted to be.
Okay.
And it was not easy because I knew that the other guys didn't want to do that. And I didn't really want to do it either, but, I felt like that's what it was supposed to be. So I just kind of kept at it, and I did this sketch in the spring, and I sent it to them, and thank God they liked it, and they wanted to work on that, and that's what we wound up working on together in the end. But it was dicey.
But I don't think you have to have Similia to love this album, The Great Adventure. I mean, and musically, it's just so full and well thought out. But then you keep listening to it, and you uncover the lyrics and the story, and then you wanna know more about the story. So I mean, it's obviously a standalone piece.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, it should be. You never want to any kind of a sequel situation. You don't want it to be like not a standalone.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Good. Good. Well, thank you. I'm glad it's a blessing, man.
if I could shift gears just a little bit before we begin this, because I know, like you mentioned, your tour's about to start, and you're doing Cruise to the Edge as well, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
And on Cruise the Edge, are you going to do mostly this album, or are you going to play some of the Jesus Christ the Exorcist?
No, we won't be doing any of that. That's a kind of separate thing.
Okay,
It's on a different label. It's not coming out till the spring. No, I just have to deliver the album now for them to get ready and do all the marketing and release it. Yeah, we'll be doing this album. Yeah, mostly.
And I think by the time the tour starts, the album should be out. I'm going to see you guys in Atlanta, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll pick up the LP at that show if it's available. Any other surprises on the upcoming tour?
My computer going down. In the creative space, I've been in the live surprising kind of stage thing that we can do. You'll have to come and see.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen anyone in the band live. I have not. I don't think I've seen Portnoy live yet, so I am really excited about this.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, it's going to be a killer too, right?
It's a great album. Thanks. We also started off talking about Flying Colors, so you're in the process of writing for that.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Excuse me. I'm in the process of doing keyboard tracks on the stuff that we've written, and Mike's done his drums, and we're hoping to have this out in the late summer.
Fantastic. And then I saw a few clips of the Jesus Christ the Exorcist show. I think Paul, what's his last name? The guitarist from Carl Palmer's band was
Yeah,
but the brief tracks I saw looked fantastic. And you mentioned that's coming out too.
Yeah, that should be out in the spring.
Great. Anything else about the Great Adventure you want to talk about? That's a fantastic solo.
Yeah, I went on vacation and left it blank. He just said, I don't know, man, I just didn't feel anything. I kept trying to play to it, couldn't get any vibe. I was like, well, because I thought for sure he was gonna take that solo, and I didn't know what to play. And the funny thing is, in that whole first part of that solo, I basically, I was at the point where you're just turning the track on, turning your guitar on, and getting warmed up.
Mm-hmm.
And I had no idea what key I was in. I just started, and the guitar started feeding back, and I thought it sounded cool. And then I just started going, doing a trill of the E string, and that was a lot of the stuff that made it in the final solo was from this very first run through in which I had no idea what key I was even in.
Oh yeah, the song just builds and builds. It's a wonderful song in itself, but the guitar really is amazing. Thanks. Yeah, that's good to know. I have two more questions, but I think one I'm going to send to your publicist regarding the equipment that you use and anything you endorse, so I can get that in the article. the last question you can answer, or I can ask your publicist as well. And I typically ask people to tell me their top 5 favorite albums of all time.
Oh wow, that actually changes. It evolves. My current top 5 favorite albums. Well, I always have to go with Yes, Close to the Edge.
Okay.
I think that's kind of a quintessential prog album. Man, I just listened to Return to Forever, Romantic Warrior, and I'm crazy about that.
That's amazing.
Yes. On the jazz side. For a rock, just like regular rock album, I might go with Who's Next.
Okay.
I think Who's Next is just a great, like, non-concept. Tommy, of course, is maybe greater, but Who's Next is such a good, just rock song album.
Mm-hmm.
Newer stuff, I love John Mayer's latest one. It's so cool. What's it called? I think it's called the Answer to Everything or something like that.
I haven't heard it. Okay.
Yeah, it's pop, modern pop, cool. I think it's just so cool. He's such a great songwriter. John Mayer is one of my favorite, songwriters of the last 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah. Let's see, and then the number 5 spot. Well, I don't know, man. There's so many great ones. I guess I'd have to take a Beatle. I mean, you gotta have a Beatle. And I don't know. I love them all so much, but I guess I'd take the White Album.
The new release, the White Album show. So.
Yeah.
All right, Neal. Anything else you want to add? We have another minute or so.
No, I'm good, man. I'm good. Anything else you want to know?
No, I think I'm all set. It'll probably take me about 2 weeks to have us up on the site, and we'll send you a copy, or your publicist a copy, and also I'll review the album soon as well. And I really appreciate your time. I know you're busy getting ready for the tour and promoting the album. And I'll see you in Atlanta.
Bye, man.
Yeah, take care.